Top of the morning, ladies. Yes, or I'm gonna rechange it. So, hello everybody. My name's Tim, and welcome to the first ever. Or I'm gonna say this probably a billion of times, but this is what if Deku was powerful. Oh, like, where is it? Where is it? Give me a minute, because I need to go. No. Okay, so into when I say powerful, I really mean powerful. Like this heat laying on form of him. So this is what if Deku was super powerful. Part 1. So let me go back to my files thing. My what if. So Zuko was, and he had a sister. I'm putting both of them in. So him and his sister was born same day, same everything. But Zuko, or not Zuko, Zumi was born like couple of minutes after Zuko, but Zuko was born with a rarest power, or because this is my what if. Let me make sure that's on. Yep. Okay. So Zuko had this power, or this, because his quirk used to be so Zuko. Here I am grabbing my food, so the Zuko was, or had a quirk called Infinity of Everything, and he is way powerful than his sister. Or like when he was born, with that already had that quirk activated, but that quirk and him, like his body and him, or his body and that quirk fused, so it makes, how will I put this? He is basically has this attribute, kind of like Bond from the Seven Deadly Sins, that they said it's his unique attribute. But Zuko, who was born as his canon one, and his sister, like his sister that you see before you, was born. She had a common of Inko and Astashis, or whatever his name is. Sorry. But Zuko was little bit different from his sister. How different are you saying? Well, let's picture All for One, All Might, and who else? Twice, and everybody from Class 1A and 1B, Pro Heroes, everyone. That's how powerful he is. So, this is getting into details of what his power is. He is so powerful that, you know, like how some people use like that same thing that starts with, oh, Zuko, and goes to the Quark Doctor, and then the Quark Doctor tells him that he was quirkless and all that stuff. But Zumi is in it. So, the Quark Doctor said to Inko, here, to Inko that, or first he told his, or her sister, Inko's daughter, on her, that she had a combined of their quirks. They said, that's good. How about our son? And then when they told them, they went and hugged Zuko because he thought he was quirkless. So then he, so when they got back to their house, I'm giving Inko the brainwash thing, like erase his memories thing, or better yet, steals his memories, so that he actually told Humi that your brother is gonna be kicked off the island thing. You know what that means? Well, he's no longer a part of it. So, Zuko is. So, Zuko was a little bit. At first, like when he was 4 years old, he never heard his mother say that before. So, then. So she took him away and like stole all of his memories and basically threw him out into a ditch. So then now Zumi was the only child now. For now. But so then when they both hit 15, or actually Zuko doesn't remember his own birthday or anything else, but except for his one true name of destruction. That's all he could remember was destruction was his name. So basically, he went from Zuku Midoriya to Destroyer, and him, Bakugo, and his own daughter or sister went to UA, and so then just everyone or Zuku got done really fast, like done, all done with that part. Now gonna wait until rest of them. Momo was done a few minutes, way too much, right after Zuku. Oh. And then his own sister was done right after. So then when they were like, okay. And so when he doesn't remember anything, so he basically like destroyed, or when Music Mike was like explaining to him or them that and about 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, 0-pointers. He like, okay. So then when it was gonna start, Zuko decided to become wacky. Like, he became like calm, cool, to ripping off door hinges and start slaughtering 1-pointers, 2-pointers, 3-pointers, robots in about 1 second. So basically, he was pretty fast. Like, he just slaughtered everything. And when Nezu, let me go to his pictures. No, not. Don't worry about her. That girl, that one that was pointing to herself. Don't worry about her. She's also in this story, so hold on. Did I forget to add him? I think I did. Hold on. It was... There he is. Nezu says... Hold on. Oh, nope. Let me move it to this so that he'll remind me. So he says, let's bring it out. He says, okay. Or all of them agreed. So then when Zuku saw, or like, when Zuku saw, or actually Destroyer saw the 0-pointer, right before he even, like, was even emerging, he one-hit that sucker real hard. Like, he became, like, he used all of his power. Like, he did like a Kamehameha, or that final blast one. And after that robot was even to his hips, got blasted so hard he got, like, done anymore. So then the quirk test was over about 1 second. So that was pretty fast. Or 1 minute, more accurate term. So then, when Zuko went back to his little den thing, and only person that really greets him into it was a bunch of homeless people, and he always explains to them a lot about, like, what's going on with his own power thing. As he acts like Shoto, or whatever, that brain dude guy, him, like, he put his neck behind his head thing, or his neck, and says, or he actually says to the homeless people, saying, well, I am the most powerfulest one. I remember a little bit of what my quirk is, or my power, or it's actually the attribute. He said, it's my attribute called own. He actually says, my attribute is called the infinity of destruction. And when they heard that, they start, like, saying, what? You're pretty powerful, Zuko. Because it's pretty powerful quirk that no one could even have. But having it as a ability is pretty rare, powerful. Like, super powerful. He could even, like, does everything does. So that when he became, like, when he showed up back at school, he was at class 1A, and then with his sister, that at a time, his sister totally forgot all about all about him. I know, that's, so his mother forgot about him, and his father. So Zuko wasn't living his best life. He was living a cruddy life. So then when, during that exam thing, or actually because Zuko got first place, quirk assessment testing, like throw a ball, and he asked, how far? Okay. He threw it, and it landed on the sun in about 1 minute. That's pretty fast. And then when he became, or so I'm skipping that because Zuko was pretty powerful. So I'm skipping to the heroes versus villains thing. Him getting paired up with Ochako. Oh. And so she decided, of course, in my what if she loves Bakugo more than him, so he's like, okay, go ahead. Fine. So when they thought he was like loser thing, but when he used his power foresight, he knows where it is. He says, "Come on, partner. It's the this way, down that way, up there, here we are. And then they got ambushed by Bakugo before. But Deku took him out really fast. Like, he hits Bakugo so hard. You know that scene from Seven Deadly Sins where Meliodas literally punched a fairy right in the side stomach? Hank? One? Picture Zuko. I'm keeping that in. Zuko. Who? Instead of calling him Destroyer. Because it gets confusing at first. So, Zuko, or Destroyer, literally, when he punched Bakugo, he wasn't have giant holes things, but giant mark so hard that he flew backwards and knocking him out really fast. And then he became, or when he went upstairs, and I think it was Ida Tenya. I don't know how to say his name properly, so make sure you have that CC thing, whatever that's called, on. So he, sorry if I'm loud, okay? So Zuko basically knocked Ida Tenya out with just one punch. I know he says, or actually, Ochako asked him, like, what did you do? As he literally turns around and tells Ochako, after he touched the bomb, he says, Ochako, I can tell that you have a common quirk. Because in this what if universe thing, there's 3 different levels. There's normal, there's rare, and then there's legendary. But Zuko has rare and legendary quirk inside, or attributes inside of him. So he tells Ochako, or he explains to Ochako, that my ability allows me to do anything I want. Like I can rip a world in two, or I can even survive the sun, or bring myself back from the dead, everything. So then they're like, whoa. Or Ochako says, whoa, that's cool. He says, or actually, instead of calling him Zuko, they're so used to calling him Destroyer. So they're like, hey, Destroyer, after that heroes versus villains thing, sorry if I'm going a little bit fast, Zuko, who became, or when, before Class 1A arrived to USJ thing, Frebbit asks everyone what their quirks are. She starts with the Destroyer. What's your quirk? As he says, or he explains, well, like attributes are, right? Because everyone in that universe is like only people that have really attributes in this what if are richest people, or yeah, richest people. But when they said, okay, yeah, we hear that, but what is your quirk? Or what is your attribute? As he says, my attribute, or my quirk, that'll just, to make it complicated for you, is infinity of destruction. And it, as he goes into great detail, like, oh, this power is pretty powerful for a normal person to handle. Not even you, Bakugo, or any of these people could even wield it except for me. Because my quirk is actually fused into my body, like fused in my blood, everything. So, he says, so, it's my unique attribute. As he says, and there's one thing that really ticks me off is people that see or telling me to, or actually, he really didn't say that. So the person that was sitting right, or not right behind him, like 2 seats down, was his sister, was hearing that conversation. But when she heard that Zuko's quirk was infinity of destruction, she was like, okay. Or actually, because she knew Zuko, you know, basically she was born with Zuko, so she never thought about it. So then because she always remembers that Zuko's always been there for her through her most of her life. And she always got picked on by like Bakugo, and like her old school thing. So when she was hearing him talk about his quirk, that he says, I can also change the past, present, future, everything. Like, I can even change people's thoughts if I wanted to. So he was in there such a great detail that everyone's like, what? Even Mina was like, oh yay, we have an overpowered dude that's pretty powerful. And the conversation stops after they went right to USJ and they got ambushed, and then Zuko, says, these villains have no rights to become, or to be here. As he clapped his hands twice, and every common villain, or let's say they are a high-end villains one, they all just disappeared. Like, 1, 2, done. And when it was between, or actually he says to Eraserhead that he says, I'll take it over because I already know what their plans are. As he says, are you here to kill All Might? Huh. As the Shiraki-sen says, yes, we are here to kill that symbol of peace. As he says, well, you came to a wrong place. As a Nomu was started attack, Zuko, you know, like those people that have really fast hands, that like, kind of like swords things, that like, once they pull it out and pull it back in, like, and something bad happens to their targets. Well, Zuko, who did it with his hands, and took a Nomu's brain out, really fast. So fast, like, no one could even see it. Like, he puts it on, and as he looks at them and says, is that what you all got? Come on. Make it more challenging. It's more fun that way. As he actually kicked Shiraki-sen's butt so fast, like boom, 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 kind. But when rest of the pro heroes got to there, because Zuko was not just a normal quirk user, he was the advanced, like, creature of, like, so when he became hit back to his original form, like his, where is it his happy form, he's like, huh, guess my infinity of destruction is overpowering you two by a lot. So if I make a gamble, as he says, like, I know where you two are going, so have fun, don't die, and we'll meet again. As Shiraki-sen's trying to grab Zuko's face, but ends up getting grabbed by Zuko, and his entire arm, not Zuko's, but Shiraki-sen's entire arm, got broke. Kind of like he was gonna get ripped off, but halfway broke off. So then he says, in his demonic voice, he says, now it's time for you both to leave now. As everyone that heard his voice becoming so dark, even Zumi was like, wow, this classmate of mine is not friendliest one. So then when or when everyone went home, like Zuko went to the sewers, and Zumi went to her parents, and she says, "Mom, Nan, I'm home." "Good, you're home. How was USJ?" "Oh, it's fine. It's the same. But there was a villain attack, but one of my classmates decides to, or actually Destroyer, or took care of him, or took care of them." As Inko says, "Destroyer, what do you mean?" "Well, it's this kid that you probably, know. He has same green hair as me, green eyes, but he has like calmest quirk thing." So when he became, or she explains to him, or explains that Destroyer has this unique ability, or his attribute, he calls it, is called Infinity of Destruction. As when Inko and Stashi heard that, they're like, "What?" Because Hisashi and Inko like, before they left, Zumi asked Deku, or Destroyer, and what, or like he or she asked him, "Why is it called that?" Anyway, as the Destroyer, instead of calling him, where is it? It's the one that I had. This one. But Zuko was like, "Well, see, as he says, well, I went to got tested for a quirk thing, but then they said that I wasn't gonna be able to have a quirk. But then when I tested on my body, Destroyer says to Zumi that when I tested my body, he that he have, or the quirk is evolved into this attribute." And the voice keeps saying, or he says, or Destroyer says, it's a attribute called Infinity of Destruction. And so when Hastashi, or whatever his name is, was heard, and Inko heard that from Zumi, that Deku, or she says, "Well, it's off to bed to me because I had to work or had to go to school tomorrow. So then Inko says, go right ahead. Mun, answer me this. Did he ever say his true name thing? No. Well, why? No reason, because... Okay. So good night. So she went to bed, and Inko and him looked at each other, and they had a conversation. Like, Inko says, well, I think our son is getting powerful. Because she says, like, I think he's getting too powerful for our containment thing. Because she, like, she stole his memories away. So he doesn't even remember his family. And because Inko placed a steel quirk thing, or like a curse on him, so that he can never remember his friends, his family, or anyone ever again. But then she thinks, did I make a right choice or a wrong choice? As Hisashi says, well, I think because a quirk doctor says that he was quirkless, right? As Inko says, yes, he was, but my son's blood, or destroyer, or his blood is, or when she went and she asked the quirk doctor, or not quirk doctor, or she actually went to the hospital to ask the quirk doctor a question. So the quirk doctor that told her that her son was as quirkless, he says, come and step in my office. Okay? As he pulls out a chair, and he sat down. So what do you want to know about Zuko? As Inko says, I want to know that about Zuko's power thing. You didn't say that he had the ability or like attribute. Well, Inko, your son has that attribute, because I know that I said he doesn't have a quirk, but he does have a quirk, but it fused normally rich people that have the abilities or attributes are rich people that have so much power, they immediately can take on anything. So then when she says, well, does that mean that the power or the quirk, what's the quirk's name? As he says, well, you probably know that answer. It's called Infinity of Destruction. It's a unique type of quirk. that we haven't explored. And some rich people that have these unique attributes slowly becomes their own powerful versions of themselves. So then Inko says, I should have just let him still be in the family. As she said, or the doctor said to says to her, what did you do after you left my office? Because he says, or she says, well, we got rid of her brother, but without us even knowing that he had a ability to basically destroy the entire world if he wanted to. As the doctor's freaking out, like, ma'am, you need to grab your son and bring him back to you right now before he blows all of us to smithereens. Because he was like freaking out. Like he's the calm guy. He's like Nezu, all calm and stuff like that. But then when he heard that, he was like, okay. So then Zuko, or the next day, Zumi was gonna leave to go to the UA, but her parents stopped her, saying, hold on, I know that the destroyer, I want you to bring him in to us immediately, so that as she takes a breath and she says to him, or to his, or her daughter, Honor, her daughter said, okay. And because Inko and Sashi, or Inko asked first that, how much do you remember of Zuko, your brother? As she says, well, my brother I remember he was always kind-hearted. Never let anything get into his way. And he's always been there for me, that because those bullies keep bullying me because of those things. So Inko says, okay. So as she straight up tells her that Destroyer is your brother. And when she heard that, she went from, okay, to all sobbing, like what her, kind of like what Zuko is doing, sobbing. But when she got to school, she asked Destroyer if or if she could, or if he could come over to her house after school. He said, sure, I guess. Yes. Because he doesn't remember anything about his family, his friends, pro heroes. He doesn't remember anything. So then when All for One, let me get the better picture. All for One, or All Might says, or actually asks Zuko or Destroyer to have his quirk. Like, here you go. Because Zuko was worthy of One for All. So when, of course, he says thank you and I'll try my best. So when Deku, or when Zumi told him to just come on over, as he doesn't remember her at all. Like, he doesn't even remember everyone because of that stupid curse that his mother placed on him. So he, like, says, nah, I'm gonna train with All Might. So when the training starts, and then Inko, or when right after school, Inko, where is she? I'm looking for. So Zumi, he told Inko, and then Inko was like, she knew it was gonna be Zuko, but she wanted him back because how powerful Zuko is. So then when they don't mind them. So so Inko literally, or actually, All Might dropped off Deku, or Destroyer, in the hallway thing, like, and Inko and Hisashi decided, hey, how about let me talk to him? Because I know my own son from, as it was him that said that too. So he went down that hallway thing where Zuko was at, and so Zuko, like, was just sitting there, away from everybody, just enjoying the scenery, like moon and stars and nighttime one. Or actually, when he actually was, or the flames, you know those like flaming barrel things that have like trash in them and they light them up? Yeah. So all that flames was surrounding Zuku, or Destroyer, keeping him warm through that. And so her, or Inko's husband says he had his hands in his pockets, like his hand, and says, "Are you the Destroyer?" As he literally got up, or like he lifted his head and he says, "Yes, I am. But who are you? I don't remember you." So, he. So then when Asashi, or him, went and he says, "Come on, you're, or, or you're, or someone's wanted to talk to you for quite a while." So he, or actually when Deku and, or Destroyer and him went to their house, when Inko saw Deku, or saw Destroyer first time in like forever, he became, or she was like, because she remembers that curse that's on him that makes him forget who they were. So she decides, I'm gonna. So he gave, or she took away that curse and add his memories back to him. And Zuko starts tearing up, like just like his sad face thing. And Hasashi Inko came and gave him a hug. And because how he was, how they, so he tries to remember everything, but some of it's like, I don't remember, kind. So then when the next day, because their bedrooms, or their house thing, not like the attic thing, they had 4 bedrooms, or actually 3 bedrooms, plus one spare bedroom. And so Hisashi and Inko sleeps in one. Zumi got her own bed, and Deku got his own bed. So the next day, when Zumi got up, he came out and saw her brother, or her classmate, and only people that were, or actually Destroyer, was laying down, on Inko's lap. And, okay, and Inko's husband went and took Zumi to explain to her that that boy that's sitting on your mother's lap is actually your... Sorry, it's really tired, or I'm really tired because I didn't sleep well, so when Zumi told, or like, she says, wait, the destroyer is my brother? And he says, yeah, but that's his fake name that he goes by. His real name is Zuko Midoriya. I'm not making this up. As Zumi was so happy that she saw her brother back again. So then they were gonna be late for school, but Zuko woke up. He was all drowsy, like how he was, like his sleep thing. He looked like one of these guys at first. But he says, hi, baby sister, or he says, sister. Hi, sister. Come on, let's go. As he got filled in by his mother and his father, that I can't believe. So they went to school. It was like he was so fast. He, of course, he took a shower and got changed into his school outfit thing. So he became, or actually, everyone still called him Destroyer, but he says no. And he always likes it to be called Destroyer because of his quirk or his power. So then when Inko Sashi went and cleared things up with it, so they said to Nezu that Nezu says, wow, so basically you're telling me that the Zuko is the most powerfulest one? Yep. So then the sports festival thing, and then Zuko got first place in all three with his sister, or his sister was second place, and Momo was in, or her was in third. And you might be curious about who is she, the one that, why is she in the My Hero What If thing? Well, actually, reason why, she was at UA. She was in class 1A with Zuko. So when she saw Zuko's, who's he worked out. He was bodybuilder thing. I know. The attribute drains all the fat things, fat cells, and became more kind of like the Hulk, but way more buffed. He becomes all sexy thing. I said sexy. One. So he, or so she, at first, she was like, she's thinking in her head, should I date him or should I not? Because Chaco, oh, is she? I think you saw her picture in, so in each one. So Deku was against, or actually, I'm trying to think. There's Ochako, right here, there. Here, let me. So Ochako, Araka, when she heard that Deku, who Destroyer's real name is, and when she saw his buffed up form, or when she saw his buffed up form, the muscular form, he became, instead of dating Bakugo, she wasn't dating Bakugo at the time. She was planning to, but then when she saw, so every girl that was in the school, except for Zuko's sister, wanted to ask him out on a date thing. I'm talking about talking about Zuko, not my actual character. Because there could be confusion at the times, okay? So Zuko was all like buffed up. I wish I had. He looks similar to All Might and Endeavor's fused thing. So kind of like this without like that weird teeth and without those claws and a tail and toad claws things. And without that black skin and just his normal skin and without those wounds things. So he was so buffed up like that kind that every girl, even in the Coliseum, wanted to date him so bad. So he was like, okay, done. Because he won this race. Because, speaking of race, let me get into that real quick before I. So Zuko has this ability. If he hits a certain limit of his power, like his speed, he actually does time travel, like back in time or jump into the future. So Zuko went so fast, he ends up going into the dinosaur period, and his feet got all hot thing, so he puts it in the water. I know in dinosaur age, you better not do that. So he gets out of there. He runs back as fast as he could. He ends up in the future, or what's left of it. But he saw, might be a spoilers, he saw was not all for one, or not All Might, but not all for one. But he saw was that hand over his face, the Shiraki-sen, and that had All for One's power. He basically punched him so bad, like beated him up, and he ran back to the present day. That would be a past, but it's confusing, but I'm just going to say present day. So he pops out of nowhere right in the middle of the entire Coliseum. So everybody looks at him like, or looks at Zuko just like what he is doing. Like, what the heck? Because he talks so fast. Because his blood pressure was going. Because the dinosaur was chasing him and he was battling against like somebody. And then came back. He talked so fast. So he looks at her and she says, I don't even understand him. Or so he decides, or Deku decides, okay, I'm going to slow down my words. So as he puts his hands on his hips things and tells them that thank goodness I'm still alive. As he says, remind me not to do that ever again. Because I went into a past and then far future and I saw weirdest stuff. Like super weird. As then they all thought he was dead because they thought he was like gonna be out of existence how fast he was going. So when they saw him came back and they said okay, and a girl that she was in class 1B but she wanted to be in class 1A was actually her. She wanted Zuko for herself. Her quirk was kind of like Darius' spell thing, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all the way to like 15 or all the way, like combo moves. But hers is like every time she blocks someone else's attack, she becomes way stronger. And so then when Sports Festival ends after the fight festival or fight thing and Zuko got first place, same thing, and then Camp Park was similar, and then all that crazy stuff, but All for One like was gonna kill All Might, but Zuko stepped in and saved All Might from being torn, and he actually when slow your words down. Sorry. So when All for One was gonna kill Zuko, every homeless person came out of the shadows, start throwing soda cans, beer cans, even fiery buckets at All for One. Like, we don't want your kind here, so get out of this town. Or go to prison. as Zuko straight up, he took All For One and he used his speed again and slams his kind of like kinetic energy thing. He threw All For One into, or he actually made a portal, so to zombie world, or like to a different world, or actually to the sun. And he took away all of his abilities, so killing All For One in the process. He's like, now it's time for us to go see that doctor thing. And they're like, what do you mean? When I saw was the court doctor was working with him, so if we stop him, we will change the future. So that when Zumi said, okay, what did you see, brother, before? As he says, well, I saw it was a doomed future where the quirk doctor gave the real All For One's quirk to Shiraki-san and killed Captain or Miss Captain or whatever her name is, the one with the order. And he says, and so then if we change that now, then it will never happen. As everybody just looked at him like, really? And or he says, he's gonna cruise with a Zuko or Midoriya. So he knew what's coming. So he won. He actually destroyed. So it now alternate timeline thing, the future. So now they have to worry about Zuko gone berserk kind. So he says, okay. And when he became, skipped to him getting recruited by Sir Nighteyes thing, Zuko passed, because he saved everyone, and he also used his own time thing, and so then when she saw his power in action, she went from that to that in about 5 seconds. Because they all wanted him, because after they saw his power for the first time, they're like, okay, Zuko, go right ahead, be a pro hero. You actually did pass. Kind. And so then when they changed that, all that stuff, so the prison never got blown up. Everything was changed from My original plan was him not knowing what the heck is going on. And so then he basically changed the future of everyone. Then he became the most powerfulest person that, and only person that really did know about this, or actually before All for One got thrown into a blazy sun thing, he told Toga, or not Toga, Ken, or not Ken, but whatever his name is, that orc guy, to make, or to grab Zuko's DNA. So, you know what his plans were? This is a full movie, and sorry for being a little bit late thing. So Dobby and all the League of Villains that did survive, they all went to the doctor's doctor's lab, and Toga had Zuko's blood. Like, he's still alive, so he was, or his blood, Zuko's blood was from, I'm trying to think, was from, like, because those vase things was from, from Dark Shadow and whatever his name is, the one between those two, between Dark Shadow and that tape guy, that's how far his blood was. So they ended up creating a evil version of Zuko, or like 4 evil different, like one or 2 of them looks just like Izumi, but they all, like, it's just so bizarre. So then they all went from being, so they got trained to kill their original Zuko. So then all that happened, and Zuko, who was got ambushed and attacked and all that stuff. So this is the end. See you in part 1 or part 2.